Hey guys, what's up? My name is Claire. This is Claire Minded, and today's video we are talking about the Vata imbalance symptoms. So in this video, what I'm going to go over, I'm first going to give you a brief explanation of what the Vata Dosha is, and then I'll tell you the signs and symptoms of a Vata imbalance, so things you can look out for to notice if your dosha is out of balance. And then I'll go into some recommendations of how to Vata pacify your diet and then your life. So let's get started and let's dive in. Okay, so starting with a brief overview of what the Vata dosha is. The Vata, it's made up of air and ether. So this is the dosha that rules movement. It's very light, it's creative, it's got a lot of mobility to it, it's kind of cold and dry. Those are some of the qualities that air and ether carry. So physically, a Vata person is tending to be on the leaner side. You're gonna have a thinner frame, more prominent bones, long, narrow features. So the Vata dosha imbalance symptom, you have to think of the elements and the qualities that the Vata dosha carries to notice if you have any imbalances in the Vata dosha, if you are Vata dosha prominent or you're just dealing with any imbalances. So some of the signs and the symptoms that you can look for physically are going to be things like loss of weight. You're going to have a loss of appetite. Your eliminations are going to be super irregular, kind of all over the place, never consistent. You might be dealing with some dry, hard stools. You'll deal with a lot of gas, constipation, and bloating. Because you're in imbalance, that means you have an excess of Vata. So you're going to have so much air in the body, and this is going to create a lot of uncomfortability for you physically. Usually when I'm very Vata dosha prominent, and then when I eat a lot of hummus, legumes, lentils, which I love, I notice instantly about a couple, like 2 hours later, that my body is just so full of air because it's got that astringent taste. It's made up of that airy quality, so it kind of lifts me up. And because I have so much air in my body already, it creates that gas, it creates that bloating in my body. So even though I love hummus so much, I have to be mindful about it and know when to stop, take it in moderation, or just eliminate it from my diet at certain times because it creates so much excess air and ether in the body, which will ultimately create an imbalance in my Vata dosha. Some other signs and symptoms of a Vata dosha imbalance are things like dry skin, cracked lips, a dry tongue. Your ama is going to be this gray kind of coating on top of your tongue. So take notice of that in the morning to see if you have any Vata imbalance. The Vata is going to kind of give you that gray coloration on top of your tongue. Mentally, if you have a Vata imbalance, you're going to be dealing with a lot of nervousness. You're going to have tremors, anxiety, fear, a lot of worry. You're going to have too much air in the body, and that's going to create a lot of mental haze for you mentally, and it's going to kind of freak you out a little bit because you'll be very indecisive, you'll kind of be spacey, you won't be able to make decisions, and you're kind of going to be all over the place because you have so much air and ether excess in your body. So those are some of the key signs and symptoms of a Vata imbalance. So now we're going to get into some of the recommendations for your diet. So if you are dealing with a Vata imbalance, any of those signs or symptoms that I had just mentioned, you're going to want to start with changing your diet. And if you have a Vata imbalance, you're going to want to focus on the sweet, the sour, and the salty tastes. If you want to check out my Ayurveda 6 tastes to give you more info on this, but these are the tastes that consist of a lot of earth and water elements. So these are going to balance out that high air and ether that you're experiencing with that Vata imbalance and ground you back down. So you're going to want to be eating warming foods, warm cooked foods, root vegetables. You're going to want to be eating quinoa, oats, rice, cooked things that are going to kind of ground you down back into the earth. So you want to stay away from any stimulants, any coffee, any bitters, astringent legumes. Those are too airy and will lift you up. So you want to focus on the sweet, the sour, and the salty tastes. So an example that I can give you is that I am an all-time favorite lover of lattes. I love coconut lattes, I love almond milk lattes, I just love lattes. However, that caffeine and that stimulant kind of brings me up. And if I'm dealing with any slight Vata imbalance, meaning I already have too much air and ether in my body, that caffeine and that stimulant is only going to lift me up because coffee has that bitter taste. It's going to bring me up. It has those air qualities and it's going to lift me up. And you don't want that if you're dealing with a Vata dosha imbalance. So what I do to kind of counteract this, I usually switch out the coconut latte for a coconut golden milk latte. So this is kind of giving me that same creamy texture that I'm craving, I think, from the lattes, but it kind of balances me out. So that golden milk, it's got turmeric, it's got coconut, it's got ginger, cinnamon, and I add some cardamom in there, a little black pepper, and it kind of warms my body up while also grounding me at the same time. So that's kind of like my a cheat code for having a latte. If I'm craving one really bad, I just go for the golden milk latte. If I'm dealing with a Vata Dosha imbalance in any way, meaning I'm feeling too light, too airy, it kind of balances me down while also satisfying my taste buds. Okay, so now getting into the recommendations to Vata pacify your lifestyle. This is just as important as Vata pacifying your diet because this really helps bring all those moving elements of the Vata in balance and grounds them back down. So the Vata imbalance symptoms are a lot of moving. It means you have excess air and ether. So you're moving all over the place. You're moving left, you're moving right at like ultra speed. So to pacify that in your lifestyle, you want to bring back a routine into your daily practice. Whether that means you're eating at specific times, have specific times of each day so your body can guarantee and know that it is going to be expecting some good grounding earthy foods. So sticking to a schedule, whether that means implementing a morning routine, is very important for a Vata dosha because you start your day with a sense of grounding. I would recommend some pranayama or meditation in the morning. Alternative nostril breathing. It's a calming, cooling nostril pranayama breathing that you can bring into your body and bring the sense of grounding and calmness before you even start your day. So you really want to connect to your body, your mind, and just ground yourself into the earth. So start with a morning routine, stick to a schedule, an eating schedule especially, so your body can guarantee and expect when it's going to be fed and nourished. You can also implement some other grounding exercises, things like yin yoga, or even just light yoga hatha practice, or things like qigong, swimming, hiking, things that'll move the body and kind of like satisfy that Vata dosha, but also really connect it to earth. So you want to be hiking on the mountain, you want to connect down to the ground, Mother Earth itself. You want to be swimming in the water, feeling that water elements. You want to balance out those air and ether and connect back to the earth, connect back to the water to kind of bring that imbalance back into balance. Things like Tai Chi are really good, it's just mentally calming you down. Any pranayama exercise, totally encourage. Another really great thing to do is Abhyanga. And Abhyanga in Ayurveda is a self-oil massage. And this is so good for the Vata dosha because if you have an imbalance, you might be dealing with some dry skin, cracked lips. And what Abhyanga does, it takes warm oil and you just rub it consciously onto your body. You start from your head and you work all your way down to your feet. And this is such a great practice. It's so warming, it's so loving, it's satisfying. I totally encourage you to do it. And it not only hydrates your skin, warms your body, but it kind of brings you back to that connection with yourself. So you're having this loving interaction with you, and that ultimately brings you back down to earth and gets you out of your head and down back to the ground. So if you're doing any Abhyanga and you're a Vata dosha, I can recommend a sesame oil. And sesame is the best oil for Vata doshas because it's very earthy, it's grounding, and it'll kind of help balance you out. Another couple other recommendations that you can bring in to Vata pacify your lifestyle is to incorporate essential oils. And essential oils are so great. You can use them in a diffuser, put them with a little coconut oil or some type of neutralizing oil and rub a little on your skin, your temples, if you're doing a meditation. Some really good oils that you can use for the Vata dosha are things like clove, cinnamon, chamomile. These are things that are going to warm the body and also ground you down because they carry a lot of more earthy elements. They'll connect you back inward. So this was all about the Vata imbalance symptoms. We went briefly over the Vata dosha. It's air and ether rules all movement, and when you're dealing with an imbalance, you're going to deal with things like gas, constipation, bloating, anxiety, fear, and worry. And then to pacify your lifestyle, if you're dealing with a Vata dosha imbalance, are going to be changing your diet by implementing grounding, warming foods. And then for your lifestyle, you're going to want to stick to a schedule. You're going to want to incorporate a lot of grounding lifestyle practices like swimming, yoga, hiking, connecting back to nature and earth, sticking to a regular eating schedule, and then implementing some of the essential oils like cinnamon, chamomile, and sandalwood are going to really help ground you down. So if you guys want to learn anything more about the Vata dosha imbalance symptoms or signs or any of the characteristics dealing with the Vata dosha, check out some of my other videos that I got. Hit the subscribe button and let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.